For months, the 7 investigators have been digging into some of the Detroit Police Department's most troubled officers.
And tonight, our first report is on a cop who's been accused of misconduct at an alarming level. Since he joined the force, Officer Stephen Koo has repeatedly been accused of excessive force and using hostile and racist language. He's also accused of harassing people of color who say their biggest crime was being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
7 investigator Ross Jones joins us now with what he's learned.
It's a story you'll see only here on 7.
Being myself an African American, I don't put much stock into the police force anymore.
There was a time when Jay Brown dreamt of becoming a Detroit cop, but that changed the day he came face to face with one.
I started opening my door to step out of my vehicle, and that's when the cop car came blazing up on me.
In broad daylight in September of 2015, Brown was pulling up to a rental property he helped manage near Fenkell and Greenfield when he says Officer Stephen Koo pulled up to him.
He told me not to move, asked me where the drugs are there drugs in my vehicle, are there drugs in the house that I'm approaching, what am I doing here? And I said, no, sir, I do not know what's going on. I'm just here to check on some rental property.
Nearly the whole time, he said Koo's gun was trained on his chest.
Still holding a gun on you after 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and I'm asking you, pleading with you, can you please lower your weapon?
He said Koo used profanity and was demeaning, that he searched his vehicle but found no drugs or stolen weapons, and before Koo left, according to the complaint, he wrote him a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt, and then said this.
He just said, he's just another stupid
Do you have any doubt at all that he used the N-word?
I have no doubt in my mind that he used the N-word. If you feel that strongly about the color of my skin, you probably shouldn't be an officer in the city of Detroit.
Jay filed a citizen's complaint against Officer Koo, seen here on Facebook, that included allegations he used racist language and unnecessary force. Koo denied both. It was hardly the first time he'd been accused. The average uniformed officer in Detroit has received just over 8 citizen complaints, according to DPD data. Some go their entire career without receiving one. But Stephen Koo, in his 12 years on the force, has received 85. We could not find any officer who's amassed that many that quickly. And for Koo, virtually every complaint against him where race is listed is lodged by a person of color.
It's somewhat of a concerning pattern, simply because you would probably want to see a mix of different races that we're talking about.
They rolled the window down and they asked us, do we have any guns or drugs on us?
DeAndre Reed and his brother were standing outside on the street where they live when Officer Koo and his partner pulled up.
We said no. They told us to lift up our shirts and do a complete circle so they could see our waistband. We complied.
He said Koo handcuffed him, searched him, then saw that DeAndre had an outstanding traffic warrant. It was then, according to the complaint, that Koo said this.
Thank my dumb brother that I'm going to jail.
He used that word?
Yes. He said it like that's something that he always says. He was very confident in saying it.
And Reed's neighbor was a witness.
And he was like, this is because of your brother. And I was like, whoa, man, hold on, wait a minute.
Reed was jailed and then released. After he filed a complaint against Koo with the city's Office of Chief Investigator. Reed and 3 witnesses said Koo used the N-word. The only person who didn't was Koo. The complaint was sustained, but Koo appealed, and with no reason documented, his commanding officer later dismissed the charge. Even today, DPD couldn't tell us why.
We take it very seriously, and we have disciplined members of the department strenuously when using that type of language, especially with citizens.
Not him, though.
Not in 2015, apparently. However, I can't state with confidence what occurred at that hearing when he appealed it.
Chris Gravlin is DPD's Director of Professional Standards. He joined the department in 2019 and said until he arrived, sustained complaints against officers were regularly dismissed without a reason documented. He says since Koo joined the force, he's been flagged at least 12 times when civilian complaints pop up and counseled by a superior.
For you to say stuff like that, you just know that your best intentions is not to protect people like me. You don't like people like me.
More alarming than the number of complaints against Koo is how consistent many of them are. He has been accused repeatedly by people of color of harassing them, of using the same demeaning language, and at least 8 times of using or threatening to use excessive force.
He a gangster with a badge. I'm 38 years old. I ain't never seen no evil like that.
Corey Collins said he was leaving his grandmother's house when Koo and his partner pulled up.
They asked me, can they search me? I said no. I haven't did nothing, you know.
According to Collins' complaint, the 2 men traded insults before Koo cuffed him and then said,
"My trigger finger is itching. I dare you to move. I dare you to move."
What does that mean to you?
Blow my head off.
Collins was later released, not charged with anything. He filed a complaint against Koo alleging he threatened his life. Koo denied making any threats. The complaint was not sustained.
I never had no police threaten my life. He threatened my life.
A finding of not sustained doesn't mean the allegation didn't happen, but there wasn't enough evidence to prove it either way. It's the most common outcome for citizen complaints, and it's the same outcome Jay Brown received when he said Koo called him the N-word and used excessive force.
They pay no attention to any of this officer's patterns of practice, despite the remarkable similarity between all of these people's complaints.
Julie Hurwitz is a civil rights attorney currently suing Koo in federal court on behalf of a Detroit man Koo and his partners arrested. She has reviewed his lengthy list of citizen complaints dating back more than a decade.
What the heck is going on here? Why is this man still a police officer?
In 2018, Koo faced his harshest punishment yet, following his role in a drug raid where a dog was shot and killed. When Internal Affairs investigated, Koo said he never fired at the dog, but ballistics later found a bullet casing from his gun. When confronted, he changed his story and told investigators he forgot.
How does an officer say with a straight face that they forgot shooting their gun?
That is what we want to be getting to at the bottom of any investigation.
Koo and other officers were deemed untruthful. The entire drug case was dismissed, and the disciplinary sergeant recommended Koo be terminated. But instead of doling out any punishment at all, his commanding officer dismissed the entire case for timeliness, saying it had dragged on for too long.
Now I'd like to make a motion to approve the promotions to the rank of sergeant.
Just 3 months later, after a recommendation to fire him,
those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Stephen Koo was promoted from officer to sergeant. When I reached him by phone this month, he declined comment for this report. Today, as a result of this story, DPD says they're considering reassigning him.
Based upon your questions, Interim Chief White is aware of and taking a look at all of his options right now with Sergeant Koo and how best to utilize him, given some of the things that you've raised in this report.
Those already familiar with Koo wonder why it didn't happen much sooner.
Should he be a cop today?
Absolutely not. No.
He should not be a Detroit police officer.
He should not be an officer of any police department.
We did reach out to the Detroit Police Officers Association and the Lieutenants and Sergeants Association, which have both represented Sergeant Koo throughout his career. Neither returned our call. I'm Ross Jones, 7 Action News.
Thank you so much, Ross. Now, since posting this story on WXYZ.com this morning, we have received a response from Interim Police Chief James White. It reads, the Detroit Police Department is deeply troubled and disappointed by the perceived pattern of conduct and behavior shown by Sergeant Koo. I've immediately launched a full investigation, removed him from patrol, and placed him on administrative duty. I will personally review each complaint against Sergeant Koo, as well as review the previous actions of the command team members who dismissed the disturbing allegations. This does not represent the values of the hardworking and dedicated men and women of this police department. Our community expects and should receive policing excellence, respect, and integrity.
And for a closer look at those 85 complaints against the officer and the people who filed them, head to WXYZ.com. Ross's months of research have been posted for you there.
Yes, indeed. Good job as always, Ross. Thank you so much.